to this day, I just don't know. I'm like, man. So I know he didn't get a job because of his stance, obviously, but at the very same time, he was at a decline in his career. So I don't like. Maybe this wasn't the best time to take that stance, but.
But the other side of that, he was a backup quarterback. If he was a third string quarterback, they would have never made the news.
Yeah, that's true. Or if he hadn't taken the team to the Super Bowl like 2 years prior,
right?
Like it would. I don't think it would. What's funny though is when he first did it, from my understanding, like there was no one even covered it. Like the first time or two, like it wasn't even like a thing. It wasn't until like a reporter. He never even said anything about it. So
he wasn't going to.
Yeah, until the reporter asked, "Hey, we noticed you." Then that's when it just blew up. When they asked about it, then he went off. Like, all right, well, and his life changed forever at that point. So,
that's a good point. My man is gonna be. Guess he got a better chance in the metaverse. We'll see if he can work it out the second time around. Can he make it work? We'll see.
You know what? I've been hearing like some small buzz about him possibly getting back in the league this year.
I mean, he's been trying to.
It's highly unlikely, but I've been hearing teams like the Raiders possibly. He would be a backup, of course, but I don't know. I would love for a team to sign him, even as a backup. I just want to see him I just want to see that happen, even if it's for a year. But
so let me ask
see him get another chance and get a shot. I want to see what he can do, man. I want to see him get another shot.
Let me ask this then, just because he did all of this to somewhat it was supposed to be by police. It ended up exposing the NFL and another way for the NFL to get exposed. So now that the NFL is like even more blatantly on some, do a mass success type shit, if he goes back to the plantation, does that not put a stain on all the shit he went through?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because especially he took the money too.
He took the money for the settlement.
Right.
So I'm like,
he took the hush money. So why would you want to go back?
That's the part I don't get.
Yeah.
Why are you doing all of this to go back?
That's a good point. I don't think that means he doesn't love the game of football still.
Yeah.
On the
go
biggest
play
stage,
overseas.
on the biggest. It's not the same.
Or do you want to play? Do you want to play, or do you want?
Playing for Slovakia will never be like playing for your hometown, man. All right, Slovakia, they don't give like the same way, man.
I'm not saying that
the fucking Doritos ain't the same and nothing the same.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying if playing for this organization, regardless of whatever their stature is, because American football is just that. It's not going to be the same overseas. I'm pretty sure it's actually a very different game. But it's rugby. But I'm saying it essentially, and side note, rugby, that is a devastating sport. That shit is.
Yeah. No padding.
That shit is crazy violent.
Yeah.
But I just don't get why, after all of this, and you making documentaries and sitcoms about your little beige version of yourself and all that kind of stuff, about your experience, and you put yourself on this pedestal to be this generation's revolutionary, why go back to the plantation?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I think that's a fair question.
That's a good.
I do think that. Also, like, I don't know if when people say those things, they set out to put themselves on that pedestal. They can help with the fucking whirlwind of social media and the just media at large makes them up to be. It doesn't mean that he didn't buy into it. I don't think when people stand out and you have a moment of inspiration or whatever, and you stand to get something, you're automatically saying, I want to put myself as some larger than life figure. Like, you can't see what the shit's gonna become always, I don't think.
Sure.
He has no control over how he's viewed by a lot of other people and how they're making him out to be.
At least
in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. You have no control in the beginning. As soon as you sign Netflix deals over shows about
that's true.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you completely drank whatever the Kool-Aid was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true.
That like when I did hear there was a show coming out, that did make me feel uncomfortable. I was like,
Yeah.
Like for me, when he sued the NFL and got the money, I was completely okay with that because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, you
sure,
could have been playing those years, so that's money that you missed out on. I was completely fine with that. But like you said, I was even fine with there is a documentary, right?
Yeah, I think there's a doc, and then there's some other show. I think there's two different things. I could be mixing that
I know
up.
there's a show. I know there's like an actual TV show.
Yeah,
but yeah, when that came out, that's when okay, this is kind of getting a little uncomfortable for me.
Well, that's true. Yeah, fuck, I didn't know that. I wish I would have known that before I made this previous statement. That's being recorded. I'm like, fuck. He got Sammy Davis and but he got Jim Carrey to come back for In Love and Color too. God damn it.
But at the same time, though, I mean, he did have a career in one organization that ended. So I'm like, well, I mean, I still want to make money, so I get that part too. So so it's like, hey man, y'all prevent me from making money this way. I'm gonna do it this way then. So I get that too.
Yeah.
So,
I guess it is a hustle still.
It's not my life, so
I'm not knocking the hustle. By all means, get your money. I think it's a little weird the way you're doing it at this point because it just seems you already got the settlement money and you've already done whatever the revolutionary part of your thing was. So unless you're about to be out here really going after police reform or better treatment of players and healthcare for players in the NFL and all that kind of stuff, unless you're about to stand on one of those soapboxes that you've been standing on for so long, I don't get you wanting to go back to be a player. That makes no sense to me.
Right.
Get your money up and become an owner.
I was about to ask that. Like, what about other affiliations with the NFL? You know, like
I could even get that if you're like, oh, I wanna lead the charge in being a different example for that inside the organization.
Yeah, I think that's what they use. My bad, bro. I think that's what they use the slogans like they would have it on the back of their helmets or behind the end zone, like inspire change and all those little slogans. But
I got my beef with that too because that shit is
it's
what's the word looking for? Huh?
It's silly to me. I'm sorry.
It's very silly. It does nothing.
On Madden, on Madden, was 2021 or 2020, Madden 20. It's on the game where you'll have on the end zone it says "end racism."
Right.
And
that's it.
Kirsten came down once. She's like, "Does that say end racism?" And it's because of the George Floyd. And then it's a long story. It's just.
That's that stupid what's the word I'm looking for where people are like speaking out but only to look like they care but they don't
pandering for lack of a better word
pandering or virtue signaling that's that bullshit because you don't really fucking care. You don't end racism by saying end racism,
right?
And the fact is like for me, I have such a challenging relationship with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
One being they be on some BS, obviously. Two, I really love football, so it's like, man, and I like y'all said, there's football you can watch. You can watch other, you can watch college, you can watch,
right?
But the NFL is it's the highest level. It is the standard. So it's like, man, I don't want to watch anything else. But they make it really hard sometimes. It's like, I mean, you can't defend them. I'm not even gonna say defend because you can't. You honestly can't defend them. It's just like, can y'all figure this out, man? Can y'all be more like the NBA does such a better job of handling social things and letting their players just be themselves. And they don't try to censor for the most part. I mean, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they just do a much better job of handling social stuff than the NFL. It's like the NBA is 30 years ahead when it comes to that. But yeah, the NFL, man, it's clear that it's run by a bunch of old white guys. I mean, because the owners, they run the NFL. It's not the commissioner. The commissioner works for the owner. It's their league. And I think it's 31 white owners. And then the only minority, I think, is Indian, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, yeah.